Another watercolour demo, and we're in North Pembrokeshire near St David's. I got White Sands Bay down to the left. This is looking over to Ramsey Island, and so I'm just dropping a little bit of sienna. I tend to do that because with raw sienna it takes the white off the paper. But also, with it being like an earth yellow, it doesn't go green if it mixes with the blue. Here we are. Sky doesn't take too long. As long as it doesn't take long, as long as you just wet the sky with some water, plenty of water, let that merge. I don't want much more of a sky than that, really. I might drop a little bit of stronger stuff up in here, but I think that'll disperse and give a bit of variation to the sky, and I don't think I want more than that, really. So now let's just take some of the surplus water off, and if it runs a bit of tissue, that's all you want. Here we go, just a bit of tissue. I can mop that up and that up. Well, it wouldn't matter really, because I'm going to keep with this blue now for the sea. That's a bit too strong, so put a bit more water with it. And I want it to be strong here because this is a white cottage and I want it to stand out. So if I didn't put this strong enough, it wouldn't stand out the same. You know, with the colour for the sea, you know, it can be quite blue like this at sometimes. Other times I'll put a little bit of yellow with it, put it on the green side. There we go. See, so now I can't do much more than that up here, or whatever I put is going to disperse and run everywhere. So keep away from that. So I might as well come onto the foreground, and I'm mixing a green now with some cadmium yellow, a bit of ultramarine blue, let's have a look. And again, this is just the basic undercoat really that I'll work on top of. But that's everything in place for now. I've got a number of little cottages here, but I don't want them to compete with each other. I want the focal point there. So these will be more subdued and the eye will go there. That's the aim. That's as much as we can do for now, Ramsey Island. I have to leave it there. Second session now, and I'm just putting some raw sienna in, and when it comes to, you know, coastline like this and rocks, it's a matter of putting sienna and just dropping some colours in. I'm going to drop a little bit of red in here, not much, just a little bit. A little bit in there as well. And what happens when I put the blue on now, it'll mix with that and give me like a mauve here and there, but I don't want it everywhere. And all I'm going for is the main features of the island. You're not going for detail. I'm just adding some more blue here. This is the fun part now. See, all that is a bit quick and you've got to get going so the parts don't start to dry. But from here on now, this is just take a section at a time. And now I want these sort of lovely fields here. Let's get that in there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. It's a bit cultivated. Up there. Similarly down by here now. But then what I want is, you've got formation rising up here now. And I'm just putting a bit of blue with this. You can see those colours are mixing. And here similarly, I want that to go down to there. And that's more or less the profile of Ramsey Island. I don't want much more than that. And what I might do now actually is get some of the bushes and everything that's up on here. And we got some there. And you need this for these buildings to stand out. And by doing this, you break then what are the fields in the foreground here. So let's just get a little bit of this in. We'll come back and work on it all with a rigger brush, get more detail. And we'll have a little bit by here as well. We don't want much more than that. And then what we'll come to, let's come to some of the buildings. I'll do a little bit. What I want is, I think I've got enough time. That's in shadow, but I want to soak that away. I don't want it. Get that in here. You've got to take care with the buildings. This is where you do have to slow down a little bit to get the there we go. So that's standing out there quite sharpish now. These are going to be in shadow here. So I want them fairly dark. Put them on this roof. There we are. So I'm just looking for the general shapes really. We're not looking at windows and doors and everything else at this point. See, bear in mind, the light is coming from the left side here, and that's what you've got to remember all the time, is the angle of the light. Do you see? Now, these buildings aren't going to compete with that, which is what I had to be careful of and avoid. Now, can't do much more than that. We'll have to leave all that now for the next session. Right, now here's the, I'm going to finish off the painting now. With time, limited time, I had to sort of jump ahead and get some details in here. But let me just show you how you can get more of a light effect. I'm putting gouache now with white and a little hint of blue. And that is taking the eye there. And now, another thing with the gouache, you watch this now. I wanted the light to catch the fields up here. So what I've done, I put some white with some lemon yellow What you got to bear in mind is that it'll dry that much darker than this, because gouache picks up what's underneath. And when it dries, it dries that much darker. So you've got to allow for that, although it looks quite... But you can see I've got the effect of light now catching the fields up there. And let me show you again the gouache with this building now. I wanted to get this to stand out more, so I'm going to put it I'm like a slate roof here now. But then what I'm going to do, I want the light to be catching this corner up here. So that's going to be lighter. See, so this is just gouache, and with gouache you can go light on top of dark. So I might as well do something similar here again, look. But you can see how effective this can be. Again, I want the light catching that corner. And like I said, it'll go that much darker anyway when it dries. So there we are. I think I'll leave that. That's in the dark there. That's fine. What I could do, get some darks in here. Look, just get... So all I'm doing is just sort of messing around now. But all of these things bring the painting more to life, you know? And what we could do now is get some sheep in here to give it that bit of life. And all you want with sheep is you just want a suggestion. You don't want, and if you can do it dark, you know, light against the dark, that's brilliant. That's so it's just some dots really here and there. And you want to group them. You don't want to put them like dots everywhere. They do need to be grouped together. Now what we can do with that is we get a dark green now. Real dark green. For like a cast shadow, light's coming from the left. So if you do that, look, then it anchors them into the ground, and you see that? So that's just a suggestion. And what I lost the light catching this hill up here. So what I'm going to do, I'm putting some gouache in up there and there. I made the classic mistake of darkening this side when the light's coming from this side. But now there we go. Now really, I think that's all we need. And I think we'll just get a mount on it, see how we're getting on. Let's have a look. That's what the mount is on it. Okay, right. There we are. So that's Ramsey Island.